We do end up back to a same setup as game number 1 here, where teams are on even footing. We have JDG back on the blue side. They're taking away the Lee Sin. Once again, no expectations for that to ever be dropped up against ThunderTalk, as Junhao has proven himself more than well versed on that pick.
I'm curious what first pick you're going to be looking for in this rotation. Ezreal tends to be a hot one for a majority of our bot laners, but it is yet to be played by on this split. We'll see if JDG still respect that kind of power and safety that would allow Feather to be unlocked from the bot side of the map and do whatever he pleases. Ezreal's open, they look for the Jace ban instead.
Which is, you know, the removal of poke more so than anything. Does mean that Cassio gets let through, and it is for Heru. So immediately you're looking at picking things that outrange the Cassio. She's an incredible mid-range mage. That Ezreal really increases in value if you're looking to outrange the Cassiopeia. So Gala's going to lock this one in, thinking about other pick champions that you can take. Maybe through the jungle, through the mid lane as well. Could go for something like a Syndra, could go for a Xerath. Syndra very good versus the Cassio as well. For JDG, they've got a lot of options, and it's about whether or not they want to play at range to bully the Cassio, or if they want to bully her in the other sense and sort of play into her wheelhouse of being a really solid anti-dive threat.
And technically, On has also played the Cassio this split once, so this could be flexed between both mid and bot lane. JunJia gonna slam down the Trundle. I'm a little wary about this being picked super early in the draft. Trundle can always pretty much dissuade the chances of a tank coming through for the opposition here, since you don't want to play into that, or a majority of kind of stat checking skirmishers like the Junhao or the Vi. And since Xin is still on the table, maybe that you're anticipating that would be like the next choice for Junhao. But there's also many champions that Junhao can lean into that outrange the Trundle in those skirmish scenarios.
Alrighty, well, we are putting or paving the way away from a, you know, sit back and let the Cassio do the damage style composition. ThunderTalk with an incredibly aggressive bot lane duo locked in. This is, by all accounts, going to be Heru Cassiopeia, the Kai'Sa down on the bot side for On, paired alongside one of its favoured pairings, the Nico in the support role. For JDG, now it's about almost damage mitigation. What can they do to prevent this dive from happening? I think Ezreal's really good versus dive. I think Trundle as well, a pretty decent answer, especially versus the Cassiopeia. Kai'Sa can easily get around the pillar. The Cassio, not so much. Putting that down can disrupt her flow in a team fight quite significantly.
JDG pick up their final lock-in for the first 3-man core with the Seraphine, so even more ways to slow down ThunderTalk's overall approach and engage, since that encore can be such a great tool to receive and slow down the fight, but also those shields off of your W can give not just Ezreal, but a fighter like Trundle a lot of value. Now, it's just up to JDG to try and ban out any powerful skirmishers or more ways to engage a fight that Junhao could look for.
Yeah, and I mean, the Wukong a really solid ban as well. We obviously saw, we've not yet actually seen, the Xin Zhao, if we want to see Junhao get fully in the mixer like that's still one of the premier picks that we might expect to see get banned away by JDG. Could even look for something a little bit more tank-centric, but I don't think you want to pick, you don't want to pick the Skarner here, seeing the Trundle already, so they may be a little bit dissuaded from that one as well. ThunderTalk themselves are looking for that top side pick, and we know so far that both of these series, or both of these games rather, have been decided by top lane MVPs. So having that counter pick is going to prove to be very valuable here.
More than likely, we probably will see JDG pick up their mid laner choice for HongQ into this Cassiopeia. The question now comes down to ThunderTalk deciding who is going to be on even more engaged duty, because if all you're relying on is this Pop Blossom from Nico to set up your Kai'Sa for success, I think that's going to be extremely difficult. But a lot of the engaged champions that are available for ThunderTalk at this point are most likely going to be tanks, and that's just a no-no into the Trundle.
Yeah, okay, so we'll see what TT round out their composition with. I really thought Syndra would be the pick here for HongQ, but Galio gets taken instead. This does give them a little bit of a damage problem for me here when they see just the Ezreal being picked up. The Galio obviously not a great damage dealer, very good for burst. Trundle similarly not the same consistent DPS that we might like, so JDG gonna need to pull some carry out of the top side as Keshi blind picks Vayne into the top lane, which, you know, to credit to them, because this is a I'm leaving it out on the field, right? I'm putting everything in this pick.
No.
But I don't know how it's going to work.
Oh, no. I don't feel that great about Olaf. Okay. But I'm okay with this. Like,
I feel better about Kha'Zix.
Kha'Zix, I'm a better fan, and just because if you go picking Olaf into Trundle and you try to pop the Ragnarok and then just giant ice pillar, bam, nice champion, bro. But Kha'Zix, so Root, there is no engage tools outside of Pop Blossom. Wow.
Okay.
Malfito.
Hey man, ThunderTalk, if they win this game, they are the better team, that's for sure. JDG, we're waiting for swaps, I think. We're waiting for swaps.
Okay,
with this composition, JDG can be the far worse team and still win the game, is my current analysis of this situation, as they do swap them round. I don't know if that was under the 30-second threshold, probably under the 20, but we'll see. Yeah, you know what? JDG, they have a really good composition. My problem is actually, they don't actually have that much damage, right? They've got Malphite, Trundle, and Galio, and then an Ezreal for their DPS. I think that ThunderTalk have got no front line. They've got nothing to stand in front and do things. So, I actually don't know. I actually don't mind ThunderTalk's composition looking at all that JDG have. This is strange, because on paper, ThunderTalk have got a garbage comp for garbage champions, but I don't mind it, given that JDG kind of can't kill anyone. Like, is an Ezreal going to be able to get through a Cassio and a Kai'Sa and a Vayne and a Kha'Zix? Maybe.
That's a
maybe
lot.
Not.
That's a lot of carries that you have to clean up. No, I'm with you, Rude. Normally, the quote-unquote 4/5 carry strat isn't one that is fondly looked upon, but we'll see if it's enough to bring ThunderTalk over the finish line as we see both teams arrive to Summoner's Rift here for Game 3.
So the thing with these one carry compositions is always how easily does that carry die? Ezreal is the hardest marksman to lock down, especially in the late stages of the game. We're relying very heavily on Feather getting access or a really solid flank angle from Junhao, who has struggled in this series. Let's not mince words. It's been a difficult series for Junhao, and he's putting all of the eggs in his own basket this time round and saying, I'm gonna carry, and you guys are gonna have to deal with it.
Maybe Junhao now having access to something a little bit more spicy than the buy is going to alleviate some of the struggles that we saw earlier in the series, but I'm definitely with you. But because Gala has a majority of the responsibility to be the carry that defines the fights for JDG in this Game 3, puts even a bigger weight on his shoulders to be the man of the hour and lead a defining performance. Now, for ThunderTalk, there's a lot of really solid lanes that Junhao can play around. Obviously, Keshi, despite getting counterpicked by the Malphite, it's still very good for Vayne early on because Malphite, well, can't really do anything much about a ranged top laner constantly winnowing away at his health bar.
And what I will say, this might not be a bad game for full AP Malphite. There are no tanks, right? Nobody's building MR really this game, I wouldn't think. Xiaoxu's gone for the Doran's Ring, Deathfire. Is that Deathfire Touch? Yeah, to rune choice it up. So not the typical Malphite rune, but maybe he's cooking something up that maybe Keshi and On and maybe Heru, maybe Junhao, maybe the better anybody's not going to be ready for. Whoever he chooses to ulti as a full AP Malphite does just die.
I mean, I think the best thing that Xiaoxu can hope for is that he can chunk out Keshi before JunJia or even HongQ arrives, and then it's a lot easier to pin down this Vayne. And the fact that Xiaoxu has actually managed to a very large health advantage despite Keshi trying to push and bully him off of the wave, it's going to provide a lot of much needed relief that he needs.
The trade patterns in this top side really aren't that bad for Malphite. If the Vayne auto-attacks you, you're in range to Q, and if you land your Q, you just run away. Especially with this Doran's Ring as well, you get a little bit more mana sustain. You also can take Scorch. The Vayne didn't take the Doran's Shield, which is the usual answer to cheese wheel counter. And ultimately, this is probably fine for Xiaoxu for a decent while, and then you hit level 6 and then you just all in the Vayne. And I don't think it's ever that bad. Depends if Keshi gets the exhaust down while the Malphite is mid-flight or afterwards, because that can be the difference maker here. You can already see that Keshi's gone back to base, picked up a null magic mantle, and knows the problems that he's going to be facing.
Wouldn't be surprised if he just rushes the Merc Treads outright just so that he can have the extra movement speed and have that tier 2 boots difference so that he can always try and outrun Xiaoxu even when he does hit you with that seismic shard. So far, the junglers haven't really gotten involved with the lanes just yet. They've just been full clearing. What are you upset about?
I saw Xiaoxu's first item. It's not a lost chapter, and I'm sad.
Oh. No magic missile, unfortunately. That would have been a lot of fun to witness, but I think Xiaoxu understanding that, hey, it's not just one marksman, there are technically two, and this Warden's Mail, while definitely more boring and not as exciting, will be a much more valuable pickup. But I'm with you, Rude. If he... Hang on, Feather flash forward, tries to snag Vampire under the tower on one more auto attack. Oh, it's just not enough. And now Gala might be able to get the turnaround here. Arcane shift forward. That's first blood for Gala.
And that's a really big pickup down on this bot side. It's been in the works as well. They were bullying that entire bot side time. JunJia are able to force Junhao to get away.
And Feather auto attack? No, not quite. And JunJia even had the hero's entrance from HongQ providing that magic damage shield just in case Feather had another spell off the rip. Heru cannot collapse in time. And JDG, yet again, find themselves with an early game snowball.
Yeah, and this is coming from, again, individual laning prowesses. Granted, it's JunJia versus Junhao, the laning prowess, quote, that we're talking about. The jungler's doing well. The same down on this bot side as well. Feather... looking to get Vampire rooted up under the turret. Vampire was wise enough to walk just away. And then on here, he can't really turn back for that last auto attack. I think that's very greedy, knowing that the Ezreal still has Arcane Shift. And then Feather, you can see he's constantly playing at that range, but makes a really big blunder, lands the Tangle Bobs, misses the Q. So JunJia actually doesn't take nearly enough damage. Triumph comes through, he's able to get away, and it's just enough there for the Trundle to stay alive. A number of misplays on the bot side by TT's bot lane.
Not ideal for ThunderTalk, but for JDG, we talked about how crucial it is for Gala to be the single most fed, if not the person that can decisively lead all of the damage here in what seems to be a single carry threat composition here. Well, first blood for Ezreal, that is pretty damn ideal.
Yeah, and again, we get to look at the items. Gala is in Ezreal heaven. Picture in picture, looks like Xiaoxu was forced to lose a lot of his health. Flash Cheese Wheel didn't quite find the kill there down on the top side, rather. So Keshi able to survive the onslaught of the Malphite, which is not how this laning matchup was anticipated. for Keshi, but this is a pick in an effort to scale up, really. Because I don't think Keshi's going to have too good a time up here.
He's already down a level just because he's been forced to base so many times into the matchup so far. I mean, very fondly, I always remember Malphite being such a strong counter pick into ranged top laners once you get over the initial levels of harassment and just range discrepancy. When I think of very, very ancient LCS lore, Immortals, Huni, picking Quinn, and then getting dog walked by a Malphite top laner. I think Haunter was playing the matchup, and this is just one champion you cannot disrespect. The Rock is just too good in these scenarios.
Yeah, no, it's not a full 2-level lead, but level 8 to level 6 in that top lane as well. It's not looking good for Keshi, and this has been the defining factor of this series so far. Is it Keshi or is it Xiaoxu that takes over the game? In this one, in this top lane matchup right now, relatively independent of any jungle interference as well, it's Xiaoxu who's really coming out and doing incredible work. And we saw a lot of really, eccentric picks here. The blind Vayne top plus the Kha'Zix in the jungle, neither of which have really been able to show any sort of value in this game.
Yeah. Junhao thinking about wrapping around on bottom side. However, Vampire has access to Encore, so if he jumps in and goes a little too far, that could easily lead into a CC chain that squashes this bug indefinitely. And now JunJia has arrived. He's gonna push on and feather off the turret, further accentuating the lead that Gala already has in this lane. And Junhao, what the hell are we doing? Oh no. Junhao, brother Junhao, flashes away with the hob, barely survives, but we had a ping in the server saying, Quacks, we got a Kha'Zix play being
it's
locked
okay, buddy.
in.
Go back to sleep. Don't worry.
Go back to sleep, brother. You do not want to see this game so far.
Yeah, we're not missing much. I'm feeling a little vindicated right now. Feels like JDG drafted 5 champions that can play together, and TT drafted a solo queue composition, Heru was like, don't worry, guys, I'll pick the best mid laner on the patch. Surely we can pick something to go around it. And then his whole team went, lol. We're going to play our own game. And Heru, in fairness, the team have got good basis for that. Heru's been solo killed in both games thus far. But the one time Heru locks in and goes, no, I'm not being the problem for my team, his team says, well, we'll be the problem for you.
I love that for them. Reciprocal love. Maybe not in the way that they wanted it, but this is payback for all the times you got solo killed by HongQ in this series, brother.
We're going to get solo killed, and we're going to lose the game. Independently of mid lane, which is saying something. I mean, HongQ did use the hero's entrance down into that bot side to sort of ensure JunJia would live. How's this timer look? Keshi get to base? No, he doesn't. Oh dear.
Oh my goodness. Keshi is cooked. Okay, flash condemned for the angle, but he still gets unstoppable forced upon. Xiaoxu just completely owns this guy.
I mean, that's a Malphite special right there. Flash and exhaust used by Keshi, and immediately Xiaoxu just flashes on top of him anyway. Unstoppable force goes through.
Blossom tries to set up the kill for On to pick up onto Gala, but good night to On. No damage whatsoever, and the rest of ThunderTalk cannot even follow up and try and look for a revenge kill. Feather is just going to be fed to the Wolves here, and they're donating that one back to Gala. 3-0 now on the Ezreal. Yeah, this one is looking washed.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do it again. This game is over. JDG cannot possibly lose from this position. 11 minutes in, they've got a 4.5k gold lead. They have the way better composition. They're snowballing in 2 out of 3 lanes. And the one lane that's not snowballing is going even. In a Galio is going to do insane amounts of work regardless of how far ahead or behind they are. So this is all looking good for JDG. And this should be their first series win of Split 3. JDG fans don't hate me.
Yeah. Don't worry, Rude. I will not dox your address. I don't even know exactly where you live. I just know you live somewhere yonder.
Yeah. I can tell people I live in the UK. That's fine. I'll allow that much to be aired.
Except if they're one of those like geolocator like speedrunners. Like what's the super famous one? It's like Rainbow. Yeah, if like Rainbow wanted to hunt you, oh dude, you're GeoGuessr.
Yeah, then they would be able to.
I don't know the name of the game. Producer Ilya correcting me. I don't remember.
I knew what you meant, and I think we got to the same answer regardless. Either way.
Heru,
I mean, are you okay?
Wants to look for JunJia, forcing the flash out of Vampire as On was ready to back him up. So JDG not going to give up any deaths anytime soon, but he'll take a summoner spell for free. Decent true shot barrage as it eclipses both Junhao and Heru for some damage, but rest of JDG just going to continue moving their forces around, using their numbers advantage to guarantee push on these turrets here.
What is On doing? that's one way to try and farm the wave, but it's cost you significantly in order to try and do it. That whole time on that top side as well, Heru wasn't farming on this bot side, so a wave got lost to the tier 2 turret. JDG are just playing the map better, they are playing this game better, and to all intents and purposes, they've played this series better as well. It's really good to see as now Vampire gets jumped on, but immediately gets out. JK.
Ascended, but Hero's entrance over the top immediately forces On into the wrong side of the map. ThunderTalk are just desperate for something to go their way. And unfortunately for them, it is just disaster all the way through.
I mean, this comp reeks of desperation anyway. When you lock Kha'Zix and Vayne on the same rotation, I immediately am skeptical, to say the least. I think that they, took their jungle pick a little too late. They had the idea about them needing Kai'Sa Neeko, and they didn't really recognize that with a Trundle in play, they couldn't take a tank jungler. The fact that they can't take a tank jungler gives them this problem that there are only actually 2 AD junglers left. They both got banned, and then they have nothing to pick. And then they're stuck with Kha'Zix. Like, what is Kha'Zix doing for me this game?
He's a bug, Rude. That's what he's doing. And now Keshi is just cooked. Xiaoxu waiting to pop the Unstoppable Force until he sees a little bit more spells coming out of ThunderTalk, and not gonna even look for it. That's even more terrifying, Rude. The fact that he's just holding on to the damn ability. ThunderTalk are just forced to run away.
And then Vampire, insult to injury here. Is Junhao gonna try and kill?
Flash
the Kha'Zix one-shot.
Easy pickings. Would have been more preferable if the Kha'Zix got the kill, but at least it's something for ThunderTalk on the board here. I know that if that was Quax and he was on the Kha'Zix and his team was feeding and he doesn't get the kill and the support does, he might have just AFK'd, just straight up.
Yeah, it's, well, it's not great for ThunderTalk that the first kill that they get goes to Feather. It's not awful. I mean, it does secure Proto Belt for the Neeko, which is a really big pick, a really big item. Obviously, Junhao would have liked a pickaxe or something more. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles, and Feather is still not in a truly carryable position. As now Heru, I mean, he's surely just dead. No mercy.
There's something so satisfying about a Malphite ult sound. Yeah. It just has such a satisfying to it. It's like the thwomp.
It's the OG Heartsteel noise.
Yes, yes. I remember one time we had another producer on another show, and we asked for the next Malphite Ultimate, could you just add a little bit more bass to it? And he cranked that up to 11, and it was just this boom. Oh my goodness. And the fact that I'm reminiscing on old shows just goes to show how done this game is. As Xiaoxu, this Malphite skin makes him look like he's got Wolverine claws whenever he pops a W, and he's definitely slicing down Junhao to size. Keshi will at least back him up and give him the escort needed to survive, but JDG with an overwhelming 6,000 gold advantage at the 17-minute mark. This is their game to lose.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to lose it, is the brutal honesty here. Like, who are they even able to pick? They've got this weird composition that doesn't have much CC outside of Nico. They're looking to maybe pick one target, but again, where's the lockdown for it? They've got really good isolation damage with the Kha'Zix and Cassiopeia single target, Vayne single target damage. So if they can get on top of the Ezreal, and the Ezreal's left untouched for maybe a few seconds, they can then probably kill Gala. But then they have to deal with over-leveled Malphite, Trundle, and Galio, as you can see, which is proving to be quite easy.
Unfortunately, Junhao, as soon as you leap into fog, there will be a Troll King on the other side, and there's no way for you to escape that encounter there. JDG pick up their 8th kill of the game, extending their gold lead to another 1,000 since we last mentioned it. And they're about a couple minutes away from picking up their 3rd dragon of the game as well. And rest of ThunderTalk, they don't have nearly enough wave clear to deal with the siege from JDG either. So it just... I don't know what you do.
Heru's cosplaying as a wolf.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Keshi.
Okay, Keshi might be able to get the solo bola here, flashing over the wall. A lot of gold goes into his pockets. We'll pick up the freebie onto HongQ's Galio there.
And I actually think this is the best way for TT to play. It's split push, it's 1-3-1, and pray.
Heru barely survives, flashing away from what looked like was a Seraphine E. Just making sure that he did not get rooted under the tower there. Xiaoxu canceled on the recall, but the rest of JDG still have control of the map.
Keshi's going to get a precious plate on that top lane because he cancelled that. That's massive by Junhao, as it looks like this was the remnants of Junhao's attempt to play on the top side. I guess HongQ just never actually recalled after this, and that's how the Vayne got the kill onto the Galio, but... yeah. HongQ's just like back to business.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's get HongQ in the bot lane. I think there's something for them to learn, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know, I was going to say, Rude, during the draft, when I first asked, wait a minute, I thought that it would potentially be better if the Cassiopeia was sent into the Malphite and you sent the Vayne into the Galio. A little bit of Cap's Vayne mid specialty. And I was a little disappointed they didn't go that extra step further.
Well, I think you're then, and I have no reason to expect this, but you are expecting Heru to have Vayne in the back pocket, which, you know, not every mid laner does have, ultimately. Not every mid laner is Caps, so I think compositionally it would have been amazing. Would have been really good to be able to go, actually, yeah, we'll just put Vayne mid and we'll get that to be the answer. And obviously the Cassio is going to do very well versus the Malphite for the most part as well. But they didn't do it, so we're sat in this position where they've got really quite awful solo lanes instead of quite good solo lanes, and then bot lane was getting rolled as well, so it's the 3 losing lanes plus Kha'Zix special, which has cost TT dearly.
How can you tell me that we've been playing League of Legends for 16 years now? We've had this game out since 2009, 2010. And you're telling me modern pro players can't play every single champion right off the bat with minimal game experience?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Damn.
There are some people that are playing that were born after League of Legends was made, you know?
That is very true.
So, I'm not sure if HongQ is that, because I know HongQ was really young when he first came out. I think he's probably 17 now at this stage.
I think he's 18 or 19 now, because he was 17 at MSI last year, or leading up to MSI for CFO. JDG are trying to rush the Baron. Junhao knows, and Feather can at least get some vision down. 10,000 HP on the Baron, so Junhao can wait for his time. He just needs to make sure that
now they know.
Oh, well, the Baron buff kind of sold him out there, but Pop Blossom goes all the way onto Gala. Remember, if they find Gala, they could potentially turn this fight. Everyone is just a tank and a fighter. Junhao and the rest of ThunderTalk are leading the charge. No way. They find a comeback from this angle. 3 dragons in the inventory for JDG, and it still doesn't matter. The rest of ThunderTalk trying to run down this troll before the teleport comes through. But a massive unstoppable force from Xiaoxu will find 1 into 2 with the flash clap over the wall, giving them cheeks, bro. Heru throws out the cheese wheel, picks up the triple. Xiaoxu saving his team from disaster.
Oh, what a recall as well. Absolute mountain of a man. TPs into the top lane, finds a triple kill in a play that is objectively still good for ThunderTalk. They got a lot of shutdowns. A lot of gold goes back into their pockets here with this play. Now, it starts out with the Gala being sectioned off, and actually the Kazakhs doing so much work on this backline with Vampire as well, with a bit of a whiff there on the Encore. Flashes away from Gala and leaves the Ezreal completely undefended. Junhao gets some Void Spikes through with the Baron. That syncs up to take down the Seraphine. And then on, able to whittle down JunJia. And this is a really good play by ThunderTalk to say, okay, we've got to get in. We've got to do this now. Because otherwise that TP is going to come and ruin us. Unfortunately, Xiaoxu way too present on the Malphite.
I know we have no communication with the official LPL production team, but I swear, somewhere in the world they understood. You know, there is an unofficial English broadcast that wants us to base boost this Malphite ultimate just a little bit more. Yeah. I felt that one in my soul.
It really was just a... It was a visceral Malphite ulti. Like, I felt knocked up a little bit, you know? Mm-hmm. Came through the screen because of the impact we knew it was going to have.
Well, at the very least, JDG avoid the doomsday scenario where TT clean up a majority of those kills and then start the Baron immediately afterwards. No one gets the Baron. They still have the gold lead, and On is caught out. Tries to use the killer instinct to no avail. JDG immediately pick off the marksman and will turn their attention to the purple worm.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a game to remember for On, unfortunately. Very big blunders, pretty much throughout. And now it's up to the rest of ThunderTalk to perform some form of heroism and try to keep this Baron from falling.
5k HP. Control ward goes down. HongQ immediately sends it to make sure that he can body block. Junhao sends it into the back line.
Oh, no way.
Junhao steals the Baron right under the nose of JDG. But will it amount to anything? I'm not sure if Heru can make it out alive here. Feather, at the very least, can try and look for an escape. But Vampire might try and pick himself up a snake if he can turn it on by himself. Hero's entrance from HongQ will save his support from certain doom. And now Heru just has to run it down on the other side of the lane.
Yeah, get as many minions out of this as you can, buddy, because you are absolutely toasted. Taunt goes wide, but one chomp from JunJia will pick up the kill. I mean, that's a denied Baron here for ThunderTalk. They're keeping themselves in this game. It's denying JDG from ending. There's an Infernal Dragon and an Infernal Soul here for JDG to pick up. Junhao gets in. Is it an early smite there? No, smite plus Q combo. That's in. And was it early smite? Looks like it went on cooldown. Either way. The Baron goes over to TT. That's not going to get them anything. Gets them a little bit of gold, denies them the play, and it's JDG that will pick up the Infernal Soul afterwards.
Yeah, it looked like JunJia just was late on the smite. I don't think he expected Kazakhs to somehow make it in, and by the time he put 2 and 2 together, it was too late. But, like you said, denies a Baron, but effectively the map is still heavily under fire, and JDG end up picking their Infernal Soul, even adding more to the fire imagery that is being put on display. And for ThunderTalk, at the very least with this Baron buff, we'll be able to stall out a siege, but I imagine that JDG still very much in the driver's seat. At this rate though, Rude, the last ditch miracle is DT are able to survive long enough for an Elder Dragon spawn.
Yeah, that's true. The fabled give soul, take elder strategy. Keshi. Oh my god, Vayne spotting.
2-man encore, the 2-man unstoppable force, the Hero's entrance. Good night to ThunderTalk. The lightning has come to an end, and JDG immediately erased 2 from the map. and they can continue pushing in through the bottom side.
Yeah, we need to keep that hidden in the future, Keshi. That was not the Gosu montage that we were after, unfortunately, as JDG more than happy to capitalize on just a plethora of errors, be it macro, be it compositional, be it micro that we've seen from TT in this game. I think that this is ultimately the way this has played out. If JDG didn't win this game, there would be bigger questions to be asked. But they'll be more than happy here up against a Baron to attempt to siege. They've got 10 seconds before the carries respawn.
Oh, nice slow from the Chomp into the HongQ CC chain. Eliminates another member from TT's defense, but waiting on another minion wave before they can continue the push into what could be the end of the game. They feel confident with Xiaoxu right behind them. Malphite ulti coming up in 5 seconds. Heru just throws down the petrifying gaze to somewhat dissuade them from making the push, while Junhao collects a bit of the minion wave on the top side of the map.
Plus 28 gold for the Kazakhs. That's going to be the difference maker here in this game. For sure. We've got Elder Drake spawns in 3.5 minutes. Baron spawns in 2.5. I'm not sure that we're going to get to either of those, to be honest. Feels like ThunderTalk might just do something silly and lose the game before then, but that's kind of how they have to do it. They have to do silly things when they're this far behind, when their composition is like this. If they try and take a 5v5, they're going to lose. Just objectively, they will lose. So what they need to do is try and take a really weird 1 versus 4 and then pray that JDG haven't turned their monitors on and try and get back in and like can't defend their teammate. But they've got TP on Xiaoxu, they've got Hero's Entrance and TP on Gala. Vampire's got Shirelius to get to a place quickly, plus Flash Heal Encore. I'm skeptical to say the least.
And even though they're cognizant of the fact that Gala is the main damage carry, look at some of the late game itemizations coming in for JDG solo laners. There's a death cap on this Galio, so he's going to be doing a decent amount of damage. We got a Seekers coming in for Xiaoxu's Malphite. He's going to go golden.
I want to see the R stasis combo, where you stasis yourself, look like a statue, and then still knock everyone up. That's the goal.
Yes, dude. Maximum aura farming and really the disrespect. It's gonna be peak. Please, just do it one time for the one time, Xiaoxu.
I don't know that they'll be able to do it all that easily. I think in terms of competitive integrity, they might struggle. But if it fits, if it works, then we'll definitely be here
MVP.
For it. It's mid lane inhibitor. Yeah, that's true. It would give them MVP points. Mid inhibitor has fallen. Top is the last one up for grabs, and again, JDG don't particularly need the Baron here. They just use Ezreal poke and a gigantic front line to make everything else happen. They've got Seraphine for any extra heals as well, so Gala doesn't need to feel too bad about taking these little bits of chip damage. As long as they can control this topside jungle, 30 seconds till the Baron spawns, they can retreat back to that Baron and take it without really any contest and make sure that TT have to face check literally every single brush.
Yeah. And they've done a really good job of cleaning out the vision on the top side of the map as well. They have very aggressive vision wards. Junhao barely survives, but forced to flash. And that should be JDG's call to just immediately start up the Baron on spawn.
Those heroics are going to be much more difficult with no flash available, but did it last time with just a hop. We'll see if he can do it again.
What is Xiaoxu buying? Oh, just an extra control ward. Fair play. Feather trying to get some vision down on as well. Trying to poke away at them. Oh, the taunt immediately flashed by Heru upon entry with the teleport. That was almost a high chow level teleport. Thankfully, Heru makes it out alive as JDG.
It stopped the Baron, I guess. Cost flash and TP, but the Baron didn't go down. And now we're in this weird... This is the exact type of situation where JDG could throw. Where there's a Baron and an Elder spawning, and if they make the wrong decision, it ends the game. But the good thing is that there's a massive wave crashing in on the bot lane. Vayne is not the all-singing, all-dancing, wave-clear beast that ThunderTalk need her to be. And now JDG, they've spotted Junhao.
Chomp to eliminate the Edge of Night spell shield. 5 seconds away from the Elder. Trying to get some aggressive vision down to make sure that ThunderTalk do not get in range for a 50-50 Elder steal. Oh, unstoppable force onto a couple members there. Junhao gets his getaway, but Heru cannot do the same. Feather with an impressive 4-man pop blossom, but with no damage to follow up on the engage. And now Junhao's running for this life. Gala arcade shift into darkness and finds the bug without even landing to a single auto attack. Keshi now pinned against the wall. No Seeker's arm guard needed. Gala is just gonna walk this one out. Mystic shot backwards for the aura, and JDG gonna march it in for a series 2-1 win.
Yeah, JDG, again, they collected their free win after what TT drafted in this one. This felt very desperate from ThunderTalk. They'll go to 1-3. JDG pick up their first series win. And that just felt so out of character for ThunderTalk. They're a team that typically have been so disciplined, so well established in how they play their games, what they're looking to do. And then they just decide to play Kha'Zix jungle with 4 carries around it. It was complete chaos.
And don't get it twisted that we know that ThunderTalk are coming into this group as majority of the time underdogs, and if they play a standard game versus another standard game, if they don't win, it's usually because lane gap, right? They're getting outplayed in the early lane stages of the game, and sometimes, especially the solo lanes, are not able to muster up against the raw strength of their opponents. But the times that they found those wins, it's because they're able to overcome those odds, and really from their jungle support synergy was able to find a lot. But you called out after the Pantheon game, it really felt like Junhao was quite underwhelming in terms of overall pressure on the map, and it didn't even feel like JunJia was doing so much more instrumentally to just shut him down. It just felt like Junhao wasn't finding the same magic that we saw in the previous series.
Yeah, and maybe that's a product of the picks that he got given, but I feel like you should be able to impact the map quite easily. And honestly, even in the Pantheon game, didn't really impact the map until the mid and the late game stages of the match. So lots of questionable decisions being made across a lot of different people. Lots of things that for TT they will look back at and go, that was strange. Why did we do that? Yeah, I hope at the very least. And you know, from here they've got a good little bit of time. I say that not knowing what their schedule looks like, but they've got a little bit of time at least until their next game to be able to right those wrongs. I think because previously they were a team that were incredibly impressive, that I was definitely looking at as a team that could succeed versus probably even the top dogs. And this series here has just that game number 3's left a really sour taste in my mouth. That's all.
Yeah, it's one where you question now even more. Was the week 1 results and the performances we got an overperformance and just an anomaly for the rest of the split, or is it something that we should expect more from them as the standard and be more harsh on the criticism moving forward if it happens again? But for JDG, a much needed series win to help kind of relieve a lot of the tension and the concerns for the squad of their very, very poor start from week 1 series. Now they have still a tough road ahead of them. They play BLG in a couple days time, which that is going to be a very, very tough rematch for them considering a lot of the concerns that they had at the beginning of the split. But if they're able to at least find wins where the opponent gives you a very, very clear draft advantage and tries to go an all-out solo queue style composition, and you just beat them in hands diff, then at least that's a stepping stone forward for the BLG match.
Yeah, what do we say? It's the mental health game, right? They needed that one just to be a little bit happier about things, and they can kind of brush past that and go, okay, that was a little bit strange. It wasn't quite what we were anticipating, but we've managed it, and now we've come away with a win in some sense, which is always nice to see, and definitely something that you can hope to do and replicate a little bit more as you move a little bit later on. Obviously, like you say, they've got a series against BLG, which is not going to be easy. Similarly, for ThunderTalk. They also play, we got to see on Saturday, so they're going to have to turn it back around, right those wrongs as well, and make sure that they're not giving up another set of series that maybe they could have come away with a better answer on.
Yeah. Maybe a review needed in terms of draft discipline, or maybe just simplifying win conditions going forward. I do not want to discourage ThunderTalk from looking for these creative angles. If you want to give confidence to your solo laners or whoever is pulling out these non-meta picks, then, you know, early in the season is definitely the time to experiment and do it, because you'll have a lot more time and a lot more breathing room. For a reminder, the way that playoffs works is that as long as you make it to the top 6 of this group, you're guaranteed to playoffs. If you're bottom 2, you have to play a play-in stage against the top 2 teams from Group Nirvana. So ThunderTalk, because they are beating outright EDG and I want to say LGD? Oh, well, I guess they're tied with LGD in terms of series score at the moment. But those three, TT, LGD, and EDG, are the teams that everyone is looking at as the expected teams to be bottom of the group
one of them
standings.
has to do. One of them can't be bottom 2. One of them has to be top 6, right? So you'd like to think that they can get there, or you'd like to think that with the way ThunderTalk played up against top and against BLG, that they could do it. But this is just, like I say, a complete detraction from what we've seen from them in series gone by. Junhao was just not present, it felt like, and I hate to emphasize again and again that that's what the difference maker is, but he was such a large proponent of any success that TT found in those games that it feels like you have to mention him. And I think we got a very clear example of what happens when you don't get that pressure, that priority from him, because this was a series that was for on the top lanes front and then on a compositional front for game number 3. So if Junhao isn't firing on all cylinders, then we really need to think about what our chances are.
Yeah, because it is very unlikely that the rest of this team has the individual star power to step up if Junhao is not the one that is making the difference. Keshi gave us an awesome Rumble game in the opener of the series, right?
Yeah.
We didn't expect that necessarily, and JDG corrected and ensured that Keshi was not going to be a factor for the remainder of the series with very much needed counter picks. But I want TT to remember the form that they had when they took a game off of BLG, when they took a game off of Top Esports. Where's the sauce for the future? Now, ThunderTalk, their next opponent is going to be Anyone's Legend, same day as, or at least later this weekend. It might be the same day as JDG
Saturday.
and BLG.
Yeah.
So, ThunderTalk gonna take a much needed or some time to review and see what they can do to prepare against what we anticipate will be a harder opponent than JDG, given how they have played out the split so far. Xiaoxu, we didn't get a chance to really talk about who we figured would deserve it, but the only deathless member of the game, and I think if you see a blind pick Vayne and you just slam the rock in the top lane, you have such a small window to make sure that you do not give Vayne anything meaningful, and then you just run her down, and did so beautifully.
And I mean, I guess that makes player of the series quite easy as well. You would think for JDG, you know, if you win 2 player of the games, you would expect. And I mean, I guess Xiaoxu, I feel like he's becoming a bit of a fan favorite. I don't think that was an 8 out of 8 Xiaoxu masterclass by any means. I know he did well in the top lane matchup 1v1, but literally everybody did well in every matchup across all of the maps. So feels like there could have easily been an MVP vote given elsewhere. As it was, no, completely absolute landslide for the JDG top laner.
The people were all considering, okay, did Xiaoxu ever mess up once compared to everyone else? And he didn't have any glaring mistakes, but even though you're right, everyone else had really fantastic performances, there was like, I can think of one moment from each individual that was like, why'd you let that happen? HongQ getting solo killed by Keshi in the top side. Probably that's what dinged him on that. Gala getting found by the Pop Blossom around the Baron Pit. JunJia allowing a Baron Seal to go unchallenged, I guess. But Xiaoxu obviously very content in being able to just put the Tristana and Malphite performances in the bag for his squad and pick up player of the match.
Very funny that he has a 5 KDA after being absolutely rolled in game number 1 on the Ambessa as well. Like, very clearly had to work to get that. And you know, in fairness, in the last 2 games, really did work.
Counterpicks definitely have a lot of value in the top lane, and even though he was able to get the counter pick into the Rumble the first time around, it wasn't enough. But ladies and gentlemen, before we close out the show, let's go ahead and take a look at the updated standings as we get to see JDG finally pick up their first series win of the split. That allows them to no longer be deservedly at the bottom of the standings. They can now start to break out of that bottom pool and try to make their break into the middle of the pack, if not towards the top of the standings, where we know in theory they can be.
Yeah, I think that's JDG again, top 6. They should be getting there every single time. The way that they started out the split, we've got a few question marks as to whether or not they'll actually make it, but does feel like with that win locked in, I don't know that you're going to need that many wins to be top 6, to be honest with you. It feels like EDG are on a little bit of a slump, and then that fight for 6 and 7 is going to be the really important one. I think that ultimately, you know, maybe 5 wins probably sees you into the top 6 quite comfortably even. So yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock, too many standings, too many problems into not having that many wins early on just yet.
Yeah. We'll have a little bit more time. As a reminder, it is a double round robin, but the regular season is a bit truncated. It's about 5-6 weeks of regular season play before we head into nice rivals for the play-in stage, and then eventually playoffs to see who from the LPL will make a run to Worlds as well as the championship. But before we close out the show officially, thank you very much to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup, Mung, Gelati, and Andrea Duran. They're pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product every single day. On behalf of the LPL English broadcast, myself, Raafaa, Roodood, and producer Ilya, thank you so much for tuning in, and see you all